The plot to Digimon Adventure is a bit more complicated than the plot to Cross Wars, in that Digimon Adventure has several different main villains and has drastic changes in setting, with about a fifth of the season taking place on Earth. So let's take this episode to do a little quick summary and see how the plot holds up. Our story starts off with a narration introducing us to a group of kids at a summer camp. The kids are Tai, Sora, Matt, his brother TK, Izzy, Mimi, and Joe. One day, an odd snowstorm hits their camp, and the 7 kids go outside to investigate. When they go outside, they find a few things odder than a freak snowstorm in the middle of summer. And by that, I mean an aurora borealis which opens up a hole in the sky that shoots down 7 rays of light, which turn into the now infamous Digivices. When they collect them, this happens. To be honest, all these years later, I don't even know what's supposed to be happening. It's like water shoots up from out of the ground and then swallows the kids, but this perspective they're showing doesn't really match of how the water was coming out of the ground. Anyway, when they wake up, they find they're all separated. But not alone, because when they wake up, they're greeted by these interesting creatures. The kids don't know anything about them other than they talk and they call themselves Digimon. They each have individual names, like Tai's is named Koromon, Izzy's is named Motimon, Sora's is Yokomon, TK's is Tokomon, Matt's Digimon is Sunomon, Joe's is Pukamon, and Mimi's is Tanamon. Each kid acts differently when first meeting their new Digimon friend. TK falls in love with his immediately and acts as if they're already inseparable.
Help me! This thing! It won't leave me alone!
Yeah, Joe doesn't share that same enthusiasm. When all the kids are assembled together, the Digimon reveal that the kids are no longer on Earth. Rather, they are in a whole new world altogether. The digital world. A place inhabited entirely by creatures called Digimon, which are just giant monsters with what can be described as superpowers. And if that wasn't enough, the Digimon reveal that they have been spending their whole lives waiting for these specific kids to arrive in the digital world. Because, according to them, they are the kids' Digimon partners, and they are destined to be together. The kids ask how they get back to Earth, but the Digimon don't have all the answers and say they don't know, and then everyone's attacked by a giant bug. The kids get cornered on a cliff, and as a last-ditch effort, their new Digimon friends charge at the giant bug in an attempt to defend their human partners, even though they know they're horribly outmatched. This suicidal effort to defend them causes Tai and the other kids to give out a heartfelt yell, which makes their Digivices glow, shooting out rays of light, prompting our first evolution sequence. These evolutions are a first introduction to something called Digivolving, when a Digimon evolves into a stronger form. In this case, Koromon digivolves to Agumon, Yokomon digivolves to Biomon, Otimon digivolves to Tentamon, Sunomon digivolves to Gabumon, Tokomon digivolves to Patamon, Pukamon digivolves to Gomamon, and Tamemon digivolves to Palmon. While with their new evolutions, they're still not strong enough to defeat the giant evil bug Digimon, but they are strong enough to drive it back, which causes it to hulk out and smash the cliff, causing it to break into pieces, propelling our heroes into the water below. And it appears they would have drowned if it wasn't for the fact that Joe's Digimon Gomamon can apparently talk to fish, and he builds a raft using said fish. The show then spends the next few episodes setting the groundwork for the rest of the season. It introduces us to the digital world, showing us just how weird and otherworldly it is, with the kids just wandering around it, running into all sorts of strange things. It also introduces us to a new set of evolutions for our hero's partner Digimon. When our heroes first met their Digimon, they were in a stage called In Training. Then when they digivolved, they went to a new stage, Rookie. And now they digivolve into a new stage called Champion. Now they can't stay in champion permanently, like they can stay in rookie as a permanent state, but champion they can stay in it for a little while before having all their energy sapped out and they have to go back to the rookie stage. These new evolutions seem to be unlocked when the kids bond with their Digimon grow stronger, usually when the kids have a moment of self-reflection. Speaking of the kids, these first few episodes introduce us to the kids themselves. Tai is our main kid for the season. He's nice and well-intentioned, but sometimes can be very brash and can act without thinking. These characteristics lead to a rivalry between him and Matt, the second main kid. Matt is the cool kid in the group. He's a bit more intellectual than Tai and very protective of his younger brother TK. Matt, being more strategic, doesn't approve of Tai's gung-ho leadership attitude, and isn't afraid to voice his disapproval of Tai's actions. This leads to a lot of second-guessing, fistfights, and a rivalry that will last the entire season. The two characters' rivalries can be pretty much summarized like this.
I think of John Kerry as a chess player. He examines every move on the board, every permutation of that move, every sequence of moves. But in the dangerous times we live, occasionally the egg timer goes off and you miss your turn. Conversely, Bush is a checkers player and he runs across an asshole, he jumps him. And that's what we need right now.
Izzy is one of the younger kids in the group. He's a child prodigy, a computer nerd, and is incredibly antisocial. For the first couple episodes, he spends most of his time playing around on his laptop and is just completely detached from the group, wandering off on his own a couple times. Sora is pretty much the peacekeeper in the group. She spends a lot of her time trying to keep everyone happy, everyone safe, everyone together, which is not an easy task when Matt and Tai act like they're about to kill each other. Mimi is a whining, spoiled brat who spends most of her time complaining about everything in a non-constructive manner. TK's role in the group is, well, he doesn't really have a role in the group. He's just, at this time, Matt's younger brother, whose Digimon doesn't Digivolve. Yeah, Patamon doesn't get a Digi-evolution around the same time everyone else does, so he's kind of useless when they're fighting this thing, and that thing, and this thing also. But I guess he has the excuse of being the youngest member of the group, and I guess his purpose is to give Matt something to care about. And last but not least, there's Joe. Joe is the neurotic doctor in training. He's the oldest kid in the group, and acts the most mature out of everyone, and he's also far less accepting of all the weird things that happen in the digital world. In fact, during the first couple episodes, I would say he's the third rival to Matt and Tai's power struggle. Tai voicing a more offensive strategy, Matt offering a more defensive strategy, and Joe coming in with an adult perspective offering his solutions. Which would work in the real world, but this is the digital world, so Joe's kind of out of luck. He actually does get a chance to assume a leadership position, and he almost ends up dying. And yeah, that's how our characters are introduced to us. For the first couple episodes, there isn't a villain or a clear objective other than just trying to find a way home. So the episodes pretty much consist of the kids wandering to a new location, finding some super strong Digimon, having it chase them around for a little bit, having one of the kids get a new evolution, which then ends up defeating the monster, and then do that in the next episode, only have the new bad Digimon they fight be so strong or have an ability that counteracts the previous evolution that the heroes just got, so they need a new evolution to beat that one. Now, I said that there wasn't a clear villain for the first couple episodes, but that does not mean there is no evil afoot. As it turns out, there are these dark black gears flying all across the digital world, burrowing themselves into good peaceful Digimon, causing them to act violent and evil. How do you get these black gears out? By beating the crap out of them. Where are these black gears coming from? Well, it turns out they're being sent by our first villain of the season, Devimon. Devimon's main goal for this arc seems to be to maintain control of the island and eliminate all threats to his regime. In this case, the kids. Devimon does have one Digimon working for him that isn't mind controlled by black gears, Ogremon, who works for Devimon in the hopes that his alliance will help him defeat his arch-enemy Leomon. Leomon has an interesting place in Digimon history. We'll talk more about that later, but for now I'm just gonna say he's a good Digimon, but then gets plugged full of black gears. He breaks free from the control a couple times, but then just gets plugged in with more black gears, so he works for Devimon. I mention them now because in the same episode the heroes meet Ogremon and Leomon, they also meet Devimon for the first time when our heroes find an abandoned mansion and decide to stay there for the night. The mansion turns out to be an illusion by Devimon, who launches a sneak attack, separating the kids from each other by sending them flying across the digital world. Now the kids have two main objectives: reunite with each other and defeat Devimon. This half of the arc I think is a bit more character driven than the first half of the arc, because now all the Digimon have their evolutions, and the kids are now in pairs, for the most part, where we get to see more one-on-one interactions with two characters. I mean, Matt and Tai have their first big fight, Sora tries to push Joe into a leadership position, and yeah, I already mentioned how that turned out. Mimi, a girl who needs constant attention, is teamed up with Izzy, the kid who cares far more about computers than people, and they both learn a lesson about listening to others or something. Batamon actually has an interesting internal conflict about how he fears that because he hasn't digivolved yet, he is unprepared or unable to protect TK properly. So through a lot of fighting and personal discovery, the kids eventually all reunite with each other and they free Leomon from the grasp of the Black Gears. He sits everyone down and tells the heroes the prophecy of the Digidestined. The prophecy states that a group of kids from another world that possess the ability to make Digimon digivolve, and that bear Digivices will defeat the evil forces that plague the digital world. So with that knowledge and Leomon by their side, the kids decide to storm Devimon's compound. But Devimon is prepared as he absorbs the powers of the Black Gears and Ogremon to make himself even stronger than he was before. So the fighting doesn't go so well, with Devimon managing to take on all 6 champion-level Digimon, seemingly without much effort. Devimon then proclaims that the youngest Digidestined is the one that's supposed to defeat him, and seeing how TK is the youngest, Devimon gets right on trying to kill him. But that's when Patamon digivolves into his long-awaited champion form, Angemon. And using the power of the other Digidestined's Digimon, he manages to defeat Devimon, while sacrificing himself. But it's okay, because when Digimon die, they just become eggs. And when they hatch, it'll just be like nothing ever happened. But yeah, Devimon's dead, Leomon's okay, Ogremon runs off, and the kids are sitting around talking when all of a sudden this hologram image of an old man named Genai appears and tells them their work is not done in the digital world, and tells them they need to get off the island that they're on right now and head towards the continent so they can fight and defeat the evil that's there. And that's pretty much where the Devimon arc officially ends. So what do I think of this arc? It's okay. It does a fair job setting up the kids, foreshadowing personal problems that they will have to deal with in the future, setting the tone for their relationship with one another and their relationship with the rest of the group. It has some pretty cool Digi-evolutions and a couple that aren't so cool. The digital world has enough cool, creative, or surreal visuals to keep me interested. I freaking love those phone booths on the beach, it's so awesome! So in terms of introducing us to how the rest of the season's gonna go and how the world is gonna look and how the characters are gonna act, it does a good job, My problem is, now say it with me, pacing. Now this mainly goes for the way the kids got the evolutions for their Digimon, mainly because I thought it went by a little too fast. I mean, it's like second episode, Tai gets his champion evolution with Greymon. But then it's immediately obsolete in the next episode when Matt gets his new evolution for Gabumon, which in the next episode, both of their powers combined are not enough to take out Meramon, so Sora has to get her new evolution. But then all 3 of them can't take out Andromon, so Izzy has to come in with his new evolution for Tentamon. And yeah, I kind of wish they spaced these evolutions out a little more. I know it's like, 6 or 7 evolutions and fitting into 13 episodes. But the way it's just like boom, 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 boom. I just don't think it gives me enough time to appreciate the new evolutions that the heroes just got. I would have much rather have had it if it's like 3 or 4 kids get their evolution while the group's together. And then when Devimon like splits them apart and they're in groups of 2, that's when all the other kids that don't have evolutions yet get their new evolutions. Like, say, in the first few episodes, Tai gets his champion evolution. And then 2 to 3 episodes later, Sora gets hers. And then 2 to 3 episodes later, Izzy gets his. And in those episodes where no one's getting new evolutions, the kids are dealing with internal politics in the group or something. Dealing with emotional issues, whatever. And then when Devimon throws them apart, and it's like the episode where Tai and Matt are together, that's when Matt gets his evolution. And then when the episode where Sora and Joe are together, that's when he gets his evolution. And when Mimi and Izzy are together, that's when Mimi gets her evolution. And that spacing may have also allowed the rookie evolutions to play a bigger part during fights. Because it seems to me like the rookie evolutions were swept under the rug really quickly after the show made a big deal about the in-training Digimon digivolving into rookie mode. But hell, it's still better than the next arc. Okay, so the setup for the second arc pretty much goes like this. Genai tells the kids that there is an even greater evil force lurking somewhere in the digital world and they need to grow stronger in order to beat it. In order for the kids to reach the next level of Digi-evolution, they need to have 2 things. One are these things called tags, and the other thing are crests. And the crests are an embodiment of a personal characteristic that one of the kids has. The crests pretty much go like this. Crest of courage, crest of friendship, crest of love, crest of sincerity, crest of knowledge, crest of reliability, and crest of hope. So the kids start brainstorming a way to try to get off the island. That's when a bunch of the Digimon they helped show up and help them build a raft. TK's egg hatches, and the kids set off into the ocean. Then they get swallowed up by a giant whale called a Waymon. And then they befriend the Waymon, who takes them to this underwater convenience store, where they find all the tags. Huh, that was quick. Then the Waymon takes them to where they need to go, and we are introduced to our new villain, Edamon. Edamon is a monkey wearing long johns that is an Elvis impersonator who attacks his opponents by singing so badly it injures them. In case you forgot Digimon was an anime, Edamon is here to kindly remind us. I joke around, but Edamon apparently is pretty strong. He's an ultimate level Digimon, which is 1 level above champion level, so the heroes can't take him on yet. I'm not a big fan of this arc. The pacing is kind of similar to the first, with some variations. It still has the kids blindly wandering through the digital world. The show will spotlight a kid and have him defeat an enemy or do something special, and then that kid gets their crest. Only we don't get rewarded with seeing the next cool evolution, because although the kids have both their tags and crests, they don't know how to work them. They actually do have an episode dedicated on explaining how not to use them. Tai, being the leader, is the first one to get both his tag and crest, and starts trying to figure out a way to make Agumon digivolve. This plan pretty much consists of Tai taking everyone else's food and giving it to Agumon. This plan also consists of Tai throwing himself in harm's way in the hopes that Agumon will digivolve in order to protect him. It technically works. Only instead of getting Agumon's next true evolution, he gets an evil evolution that ends up almost killing everyone. We're going to talk about that later, but I brought it up now to show that there is a bit more variety. Although sometimes it seems like the writers got really lazy, like how Izzy and Matt find their crests at the exact same time at the bottom of a well. Also, at about the time when it was Mimi's turn to get her crest, I realized something. I was getting a little tired of being in the digital world. I don't know, maybe it's because this desert environment wasn't doing it for me, like the more tropical beach jungle environment that the first arc had. Or, yeah, I don't know what it was. I was just really fed up with the digital world. That's pretty much everything I have to say about this arc. I mean, not a lot happens. It's the shortest, I think, of all 4 arcs. And so the gang breaks into Edamon's headquarters. They find an evil Digimon named Datamon who kidnaps Sora so he can use her power or something to make himself stronger so he can defeat Edamon because he hates Edamon because Edamon beat the crap out of him. And I'm running on fumes because this arc is so short with so little going on, I can't find a way to critique it other than saying I wish it was longer or at least did something interesting. So I'm just gonna skip to the end. Tai rescues Sora. Edamon fights Datamon. Edamon absorbs his dark network. Yeah, he has a dark network. I forgot to mention it only because I don't really know what it is. All I know is that it's his main form of attacking and it causes Digimon to de-digivolve. So Edamon starts absorbing everything. Tai says he's pretty much had enough of this and charges at Edamon with Greymon, showing true courage, and then his crest activates and he gets Greymon's true evolution, which is Metal Greymon, and Metal Greymon manages to defeat Edamon by shooting missiles at it, which then causes a black hole type thing that absorbs Tai and Metal Greymon and shoots him back into the real world. I guess I have no problem with this. It's glad to see a place that isn't the digital world. It's shaded pretty well. I just wonder, what was the point of bringing Tai here?
What was that?
Huh?
Hear that?
Hi, Tai.
Kari? You're here? Mom and Dad left you here at home all alone?
I'm a big girl. Hi, Koromon.
Kari, how did you know his name?